volunteers in Guangdong, China visited care recipients and delivered supplies. In the U.S., teachers, parents, and students are coping with the challenges that come with online learning. Welcome to That Headlines. I'm Jenny Lee. Thank you for joining us. In Guangdong, Dongguan, Tzu Chi volunteers have been conducting home visits in communities. Senior volunteers led volunteers in training to connect with care recipients, deliver consolation cash and daily supplies. Here's the news.
After a month, volunteers have come to Humen Xinwan community to visit the seniors. A hug is worth 1,000 words. They're like family to each other. Huang Suti's oldest son has just been discharged from the hospital due to intestinal tumor. The two seniors share their family stories with the volunteers, and they have firm beliefs as parents. Tzu Chi volunteers seized the time to care for 3 families and deliver daily supplies.
This month we provide rice, and we delivered all last month. We deliver all every other month. You should eat more soy products, like tofu and tofu skin. You can also make soup with soybeans.
As volunteers remind the seniors, they also promote environmental concepts.
The paper can be sold. If you discard it, it becomes garbage. It is valuable. You can put it aside, and we will take them when we come visit.
Liang Qundi, who has just undergone a surgery, suffers from mobility issues. She shares her feelings with the volunteers.
咁你半夜你可唔可以一覺瞓到天光啊？如果唔痛嘅時候，冇都要半夜醒㗎。醒嘅。幾時醒嘅多？有冇規律㗎？夜晚或者時時冇㗎，夜晚痛嘅，佢一痛翻嚟佢又。
Seeing how these people suffer from illness and poverty, volunteers help them with love to get through the tough times.
In Daliang Mountain, Sichuan, Tzu Chi volunteers sent love to the Yi tribe. Essential supplies such as winter clothing, blanket, and cooking oil were distributed. A resident was so touched that he posted the supply receipt on the wall, reminding him to pass on the kindness.
Sichuan volunteers hosted the second distribution in Xide County, Daliang Mountain. The volunteers in blue and white uniform were already busy early in the morning. Residents of the Yi tribe who have lived in the Daliang Mountain dressed up to attend the ceremony. Volunteers hand over the winter gifts, which include rice, cooking oil, thermal underwear, eco-friendly jackets, blankets, and daily necessities. Although the volunteers were busy, they felt a peace of mind.
When interacting with these residents and assisting with other Tzu Chi volunteers, I felt at peace in my heart. The stress of life went away.
429 families received the winter supplies, and Tzu Chi volunteers followed them back home. This volunteer team walked in a value path, bringing warmth to the residents.
When we visited the families, we saw that they didn't have much at home. The blankets we handed out were immediately put on the bed. It makes me feel we really gave them the most needed items. This touched me a lot.
Volunteers Loving's footsteps visited the households again. This family led a frugal life to raise 2 college students. The eldest son, who is a teacher already, made such a touching action.
The main reason for posting it here is to let others know that you have helped us before. Similarly, we also want to help others.
The women dress up to dance and sing under the unique blue sky in the mountain. It is believed that, with Tzu Chi's love, the East residents will pass a especially warm winter.
In the third wave of COVID-19 in Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers are mobilized to make PPE for frontline healthcare workers. This time, many of the volunteers that are taking on the job are newbies. In just 4 days, they put together 3,000 sets of PPE.
On this day, these Tzu Chi volunteers are at a clothing manufacturer in Bukit Mattajam to finish the mission they started. As the country is experiencing a third wave of COVID cases, Tzu Chi volunteer Chu is gathering some volunteers to make more PPE for frontline healthcare workers.
Last time it was during the movement control order when many of the Tzu Chi brothers were not working, so there were many brothers here to help last time. But this time around, many of them are back at work, so I thought of asking Tzu Chi sisters who may have the strength to do this. Many this time don't have the experience, but are very willing to learn.
It is not easy to operate an electric cutting machine, which takes some skill and muscle. It's simply a challenge for many of the older volunteers. In the battle against the virus, Tzu Chi volunteers are proactive in this pandemic. The factory's fabric cutting technician is also contributing their efforts, as many hands make light work. Spreading out the fabric, cutting, counting it up, and finally packaging, all the tasks are completed in one breath. In 4 days, 3,000 sets of PPE have been made, as the volunteers send it off with their sincere blessing and gratitude for frontline healthcare workers.
My daughter is serving on the front line. I have 2 daughters, and I thought instead of sitting at home worrying about their safety, why not do something to help them out? This way our frontline health workers can be protected.
Their work commands all of our respect. We are just doing what we can to thank them for their dedication, as they are doing all they can for their patients.
Each person gives what they can to help stop the spread of the pandemic, as well as all look forward to the end of this uncertain time.
In Sabah, Malaysia, the pandemic continues to worsen. Tzu Chi Gabit branch has prepared 238 packages for Gabit General Hospital. With these supplies, the frontline medical workers are able to replenish their energy while working. Here's more.
In Sabah, Malaysia, the pandemic is still very severe. In the capital city, Kapit, the number of confirmed cases is the most in the state. Tzu Chi Kapit branch gathered the love from society, hoping to provide love and encouragement for the frontline medical workers and patients.
Some of the patients, when they were admitted to the hospital, it might be over lunchtime or dinner time. We prepared these nets for them to fill their stomachs temporarily.
I believe that the medical workers in the quarantine center or in the hospital need these supplies even more. They can take it right away after they open the package. Of course, we hope that we can win this battle against the virus as soon as possible.
Tzu Chi volunteers assisted in packaging all the 8 supplies. A total of 230 packages will be sent to the Kapit General Hospital.
Thank you very much, actually. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to go.
We discussed with the medical personnel who are in charge to see what they needed the most. After the discussion, we then sent the supplies they needed the most. There are children patients in some quarantine centers, so we sent diapers and other supplies to them.
Volunteers also donated PPE protective clothing, which were sewn by themselves, so that these frontline medical workers can work at ease.
Which means a lot to a lot of us, actually, to everyone, actually. It's really heartwarming to actually use some of the contributed PPEs, for us to be stronger in combating this pandemic.
The people of the whole nation are the strongest support in fighting against the pandemic. It is hoped that the pandemic will end as soon as possible.
Tzu Chi Malacca chapter invited plastic recycling vendors to share their knowledge and experience on plastic sorting and recycling. A total of 65 recycling volunteers attended this event. Take a look.
Listening to the vendor's explanation, volunteers further understood the importance of sorting and recycling. Tzu Chi Malacca chapter invited plastic recycling vendors over to the Jingsi Hall for a retreat with volunteers.
There are too many categories in recycling plastics. I hope every station works together and, under vendors' requests, sort recyclables better.
I told the volunteers to throw away those that cannot be recycled. They have done very well and gave me the plastics after sorting. For the plastic that they don't know which category it belongs, they can ask me and I will immediately answer.
Paying attention in class and raising questions, volunteers have learned a valuable lesson.
I'll bring these back to my community and teach school children. When a child asked me how to recycle before, I had to ask others. So today I've learned a lot, and when I go back, I can teach more people how to do recycling.
Actually, we have to further understand that some things can be recycled now, and I want to reduce the garbage to the least. We also encourage members to sort carefully and to reduce garbage amount.
Purity at the source. When sorting is done right, everyone is able to safeguard the environment.
Online learning is an unprecedented challenge for teachers as well as students and parents across the United States. Even courses such as sports and music are also taught online. It is a challenge, but also a chance for students to be independent learners and for families to be closer.
After the epidemic, every day American students spend much of their day in their room.
I always wake up at 8. My schedule it always goes first math, then social studies, and then I do my specials.
Alicia, did you want to share?
Going to the beach, but in the middle of the
In the writing class, Alicia Zhang, who is in the 2nd grade, can operate the computer proficiently, both speaking and interacting with the teacher. The benefits of homeschooling are much more than this.
I like studying home because it's more quiet. It's always really calm, and it makes me focus because I can learn how to type, and my typing is more better, and spelling is really good.
Virtual
classes actually make children grow faster. They have to do things independently. If they're willing to seize these opportunities, they will grow faster.
The 2 girls in the Zhang family are in the 2nd grade and 5th grade. At the beginning of the new semester, like most families in the school district, they chose to study at home. The Zhang family not only considered their safety, but also the wishes of the children.
The children themselves will feel like if they went back into in-person schooling, the class situation will not be the same as before. They have to wear a mask and maintain social distancing. At lunch, they can't sit with their good friends, as they just think it's better to be at home.
Staying at home is relatively comfortable, but the internet speed or space limitations often cause learning difficulties. This situation occurs when more than one student asks a question at the same time.
Miss Hagan, when you raise your hand, sometimes the teacher doesn't see you, so you put your hand up for a really long time, and then he still doesn't see you, so you have to, and it's really annoying.
Another test of virtual learning are courses involving movement. Due to space constraints, physical education classes that are held almost every day have been changed to once a week. Today's physical education class was based on rhythm. The teacher has everyone to use rolls of toilet paper as drumsticks.
I wish we had the big balls and the drumsticks when we were in the gym. We don't, so we get creative. Cool?
Teachers must not only have creative ideas, but also overcome some of the challenges of technology. For example, it's common for 25 students in a class to have 25 different rhythms. But the biggest concern for parents is interaction or group cooperation that online courses cannot offer. Therefore, the role of parents not only includes the responsibility of guardianship, but also companionship.
How was gym?
It was fun, but funny.
It was funny? Why was it funny?
The responsibility of parents is relatively heavier now during the epidemic. You don't just have to be a teaching assistant, you also have to be a counselor. You have to be the head of the recreation department. The teacher is in the school, and he can immediately remind them of these things, but now it's impossible to be in school, so parents have to play this role.
Virtual teaching is a flexible channel of educating during the epidemic, temporarily solving the problem of education. It's not been easy on teachers, parents, and students. Technology simply cannot bring out trust and a sense of security, as everybody must be willing to bear a little more responsibility.
Miaoli's Zhunan Jiansan Recycling Station was established in 2002. 15 years ago, Yang Guoyang and Xu Yuchao worked to build a special PET bottle compressor. This replaced the need to manually step on PET bottles, an action which caused some elderly volunteers to fall over.
Each PET bottle is needed to be stepped on one by one, which is time-consuming and labor-intensive. Old recycling bodhisattva even accidentally fell because of this.
Stepping on it with your feet can make you unsteady, and your body will tilt to one side.
Sometimes I slip and fall to the ground, scaring everyone.
The magic weapon for recycling is a special PET bottle compressor. It easily replaces manual labor.
The motor is also recycled. I saw it and thought that this motor can be used to make this compressor. I started to use my brain thinking about it.
Recycled waste materials combined with ingenuity led to this greatest helper of recycling bodhisattvas. The steps are simple. About 200 empty bottles can be handled at one time. Yang Guoyang has a background in machinery. He and Xu Yuchao spent more than 2 months developing this PET bottle compressor.
This is a lot of pressure. If you didn't make this very sturdy frame, as soon as our compressor is activated, the frame will break immediately.
I have seen them all in the office last night, drawing pictures, studying, and doing research. I'm very grateful to them for this invention. It's been used for so many years, more than 10 years now.
5 or 6 years ago, Xu Yuchao died of colorectal cancer, but his love has always continued. He provided the land for this recycling station.
He previously said that if everyone slacked off, he would consider taking the land back. We were all scared, so we hurried up and worked very diligently.
Continuing his passion for recycling, volunteers continue to work together at the Jiansan Recycling Station.
Tzu Chi has been doing recycling for 30 years. To thank the recycling volunteers for their hard work, a special tea party was held at Taoyuan Bade Jingsi Hall, bringing together 389 volunteers. Let's join them.
I'm 96 years old this year. For 30 years, I have been doing recycling.
I'm 82 years old, and I have been doing recycling for almost 30 years.
Tzu Chi has been promoting recycling for 30 years without fail. The Bade Jingsi Hall held a special tea party with song and lots of energy. Many say they have gotten healthier by doing recycling. Huang Lihua, who has polio and has trouble traveling, rides a tricycle to the recycling station, bringing bags of recycling each day.
The PET bottles that can be recycled are thrown into my bag. I crush the bottles and bring them back here.
This rare gathering includes a special blessing from the master. There is also a nutritionist on hand to tell everyone how to eat healthy. Luo Sengyi, who suffers from kidney disease, was one of the beneficiaries of a good diet.
Because I've been a vegetarian for 30 years, the doctor said that my body won't produce high levels of toxins.
Everyone's actions are helping protect the earth as well as making them happy both physically and mentally.
In Indonesia, Tzu Chi care recipient Abdul was born with cerebral palsy. His experience in schooling is more challenging than most people. 5 years ago, Tzu Chi began providing him living expense subsidies in order to relieve the financial burden of the family. Here's the story.
Ya, yang bikin kuat ya semangat. Ajis mau buat latihan gitu, saya jadi bikin semangat bahwa saya berobat. Saya nggak putus berobat kalau misalnya dokter belum bilang berhenti gitu, saya masih terus. Saya berharap Ajis bisa jalan. Biar menurut kata dokter sih nggak bakal ya, istilahnya sempurna jalannya gitu.
This is a small wish of Abdul's mother. Her son was born with cerebral palsy. The family has been struggling for 13 years. Fortunately, Abdul is hardworking, and his mobility issue does not hinder him from pursuing his study.
I want to be a smart kid who can achieve the dreams, and also I want my parents to live a happy life.
5 years ago, Tzu Chi started to provide Abdul's transportation expense, milk powder, and diapers subsidies, so that he can have enough nutrition when he grows.
Ya, sangat bermanfaat. Bermanfaat sekali.
The subsidy is very helpful for us
Ajis kan sekolah emang harus pakai pampers.
because he has to wear diapers during class.
Kalau relawan juga suka datang ke rumah.
In addition, drinking milk powder is also very helpful for his bone development.
Perkembangannya gitu.
Every afternoon, Abdul's mother would accompany him to study the scripture near his home, hoping that with the support of his faith, Abdul can be brave to pursue his dreams.
To respond to the One Person, One Good Deed campaign, Tzu Chi Malaysia volunteers sold vegetarian food for charity during the 9th Emperor Gods Festival. It has received enthusiastic responses from shop owners and vendors.
In 2020, Tzu Chi launched the One Person, One Good Deed campaign. Tzu Chi volunteers hosted a 3-day vegetarian charity fundraiser during the 9th Emperor Gods Festival. All the ingredients were donated by benevolent people. In addition to doing good deeds, Tzu Chi volunteers also encouraged others to go vegetarian.
I'm very grateful today that there are many volunteers coming to help us and to support the One Person, One Good Deed campaign. Because of the pandemic this year, we can't go everywhere to promote, so everyone's willing to come here to contribute.
Our Chinese herbal noodle soup is very well received and quickly ran out of supply. We urgently asked if anyone could donate the noodles if he or she has stock at home.
During these 10 days, some store owners and vendors changed from selling meats to vegetarian food. They also lent their plates free of charge to Tzu Chi for charity sales, and some even donated all their income earned during the last 3 days.
自从我在国外做呢，全部都是做荤的。
In the past, when I was abroad, all I cooked was a meat diet. I saw people killing lobsters and ducks. I felt pity about it, so I wanted to come back and change to selling vegetarian food. I've created many kinds of vegetarian steamed rice rolls so as to attract more people to go meatless.
是希望更多人会吃素。
In other words, to reduce animal slaughters, people are very supportive of changing to a vegetarian diet. They were meatless for 10 days. I'm also willing to lend my place to Tzu Chi free of charge, just to contribute my effort.
Many people responded to the call of going meatless and doing good deeds with action.
因为我是得知从 social media 那边知道。
I learned from the social media that Tzu Chi is here to sell this Chinese herbal noodle soup. Apart from eating vegetarian food, I can also respond to the charity call.
During these days, Tzu Chi volunteers came to host fundraisers. I also want to help others, so I told them that I will come to eat for 3 days.
In addition to having these delicious noodles, we can also do good deeds. In fact, I think going meatless is actually very good. We can reduce animal slaughter, and vegetarian food is healthy to our body. We can also respond to environmental protection.
Tzu Chi volunteers seized the chance to promote vegetarian food in the charity sale, thereby purifying people's mind and caring for all sentient beings.
At Kaohsiung Book Club, Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital Superintendent Zhao Youchen held a book signing and shared his spiritual learning in Tzu Chi. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.